Hi everybody, my name is Gina Bonomo. This video is going to be covering some pretty heavy topics. It's going to be covering infertility, miscarriage, a slight nod to sexual assault. If you're not in a good mental space, I don't recommend watching, so just like scroll or go to a new video. That is totally fine, I get it. But this video is talking about my journey and my struggle with endometriosis and infertility. I'm also going to be doing my makeup while we're doing it because I don't know what to do with my hands or where to look. So this is the finished makeup look. Yeah, let's get into it. When I was 17, I went to the doctors about my extreme period pain that I've been having. And like I've had that since I was like 11 or 12 when I first got my period. Battling with that for years, it just was not fun. I was on and off birth control. I did like the natural remedies to help it and nothing worked. I went to a different doctor and they suspected that I had endometriosis and they scheduled me for a surgery, like a laparoscopic surgery, to see if I actually had endo. They told me that I did indeed have endometriosis, and that was basically that. I never really did any further research on it. Like, I just thought it was like extreme period pain. Over the years, I started to do a little bit more research, but like not really in depth with anything because I was 18. I was just moving to New York and I had so much on my plate already that I didn't really pay attention to it. So I ended up getting pregnant out of assault when I was also 18. I didn't make a decision on if I was gonna keep it or not. I was just kind of grappling with, you know, how to cope with it when I miscarried a few weeks later. Honestly, that was a gift from God because I wouldn't have wanted to have to make that decision or deal with any of it. So in a way, I'm very grateful that I did miscarry, but like a part of me was like, huh, weird, you know? Yeah, a part of me felt that loss, but not completely. Like, more I was grateful for it, which you don't hear that a lot, someone being grateful for a miscarriage, but in that instance, I was very grateful because I didn't want to have to make that hard decision myself. Fast forward a year and a half later, I get pregnant by my then boyfriend. We used condoms. Condom broke. Morning after pill. Did not work. I miscarried not even a full week later. I didn't comprehend any of it that had happened because like it all happened just so fast. Fast forward again a few years, I have been doing more research on endometriosis and trying to just figure out what's going on with my body. I'm not fully aware of it. I was single for about a year, I would want to say. Yeah, I was 21 then when I got my next boyfriend, and the time before that I was still 19 when I had that other miscarriage. So here I am, freshly 21, and I meet this amazing guy who I fall head over heels for as fast as humanly possible. We're together about 7 months, and that whole time it was great. We weren't fully committed at that time, but we were seeing each other every day. We were spending the night at each other's houses every night, and we were going on a bunch of dates and just having a great time with each other. So at that point, it's one of those stupid, awful situationship things, but like you're together, but you're not gonna say that you're together. One of those, which was hell. But before we got together, I told him that I wanted to go to Europe for a month backpacking, and he said, bet, do it. So I did. I scheduled the trip, and I went. Before I went to Europe, I took a pregnancy test just because I had been feeling kind of nauseous. I came back with a very faint line on it, and I was like, huh, that's weird. So I go to Europe. I travel for over 26 hours, and then I slept for 11 hours. And then I woke up, and I got really sick, and I threw up, which is great. And I was like, oh, it could just be jet lag, but something in me was being like, okay, take a test. So I did, and I found out I was pregnant. So I called him, I told him, and he hung up on me and ghosted me. And the whole time I was very scared because, like, I was across an ocean, I was by myself, like completely alone. I had never been there before, I don't speak the language, but the whole time I didn't feel alone because it wasn't just me over there, you know? Like, there was someone there with me. And I realized that I really wanted to be a mom to this kid. I wanted to be a mom in general. So I was going to tell him when I got back that I wanted to keep the baby. But then 2 weeks later, I was on a 10-hour bus ride from Nice, France to Barcelona, Spain, and I miscarried on the bus, which was horrible. I wasn't really sure, like, what to do exactly. Now going through a miscarriage on the other side of the world, and this one was quite different from the other ones that I had. The other ones, I wasn't pregnant for very long. This one I had known about for a few weeks. So there was just more emotion to it. I did call the father and tell him that I was miscarrying, and he said good. So, you know, red flag right there. But when I got home, I decided to really dive into my fertility health, because I'm like, okay, clearly I can get pregnant, but for some reason I can't stay pregnant. So I started just diving into as many like websites and articles that I could, just trying to figure out a reason. I went to like 6 new doctors, I think it was, just in that time frame since last October, just trying to figure out what exactly it was about me that made me not be able to carry a child to term. Because I knew from that miscarriage in Europe that I wanted to be a mom. I want to be able to carry a child if I can. Don't get me wrong, pregnancy is scary, but I want to be able to have a kid if I can. And being 22, I know I'm young, but I would rather know now rather than in the future. Like, if I try and not have any luck, I don't want to be disappointed then. I would rather find out now. I went to my doctor, a new doctor. It was a male. He basically was like, yeah, don't really know what's up with that. We'll do another surgery on you, see if your endo's back. And I was like, okay. So I had a side-van surgery in March of this year, of 2024. And this recovery was longer than I expected. I also got a UTI, which sucked. Oh my gosh. Was not what happened the first time around, but it was very disappointing to get a UTI after somewhat invasive surgery like that. Let me tell you, you're already dealing with the pain, and then adding a UTI on top of it, it hurts. It's not fun at all. After the surgery, they told me that they removed 3 like areas that had endo, like they burned it off or scraped it out. I'm not really sure exactly what they did. They explained it to my mom and she explained it to me, but honestly I was like hopped up on a bunch of drugs, so I don't totally remember what that was about, like what happened there. Afterwards, I still had pain with sex, really heavy periods, but my cramps were constant now. Like, not like they were constant before, but it was just way more intense now than it was before. And I still have it like that, which, it's great. It's fabulous. If you can't tell, it's sarcasm. I went to a new doctor who was a female, and I was like, okay, for some reason I am not able to stay pregnant. Like, at this point, I'm not trying to have a kid. I never tried to get pregnant in the first place. It just happened with failed birth control. But I would like to one day have the possibility that I could become pregnant. And they suggested putting me on birth control and all this stuff, but when I was on birth control, I didn't have the best experience with it. I got really sick a lot. It made my headaches a lot worse. I was moody all the time. And honestly, it changed my taste a lot. It changed my whole personality. And that was not something that I wanted to go through again. So I was like, no, thank you. Like 2 months ago now, I felt a lump in my left breast. My mom's family has a long history of breast cancer. My grandma and my aunt died of breast cancer, and I did not want to be next. So I immediately got it checked out, and I found out that I am very high risk for breast cancer. Not something that you want to hear when you're 22. I started doing a bunch of research on what could help combat the possibility of getting breast cancer in the future. Already they are talking about doing mammograms much earlier because of how high my risk is. I wanted to find out for myself other ways to combat that. This one, it was all good. This was clear of breast cancer. Still, there's like, the possibility that I could get it soon. And with how high the risk is, it would not surprise me if I get it by the time I'm 30. So from there, I started doing research on what I could do. And one thing that kept popping up is breastfeeding a kid. And I'm like, okay. So I went back to my doctor, a new doctor this time, another new doctor, because the other doctor ghosted me. I had a lot of questions, and so I sent them to her, and she never responded or answered any of my calls. I went to a new doctor, and I really like this one. I spoke to her about the benefits of having a kid and breastfeeding them, and even though I'm young, I know that I'm young, I don't want to have a kid right this second because I have a lot going on in my life, but I would hope by the time I'm 25 I could have a kid, and then it could essentially help me, and also I want to be a mom. And by then I should have my life in order by then, that I could bring a child into my life and take care of it and have us be happy and just give them the best possible life ever, because I want to be a good mom first and foremost before I bring a kid into the world. She made it very clear that I might not be able to do that. She looked at all my tests and everything, and towards the end of the appointment, she said, some women just aren't able to have kids, and it looks like you might be one of them. So I just sat there, smile on my face, being like, cool, thanks bro, appreciate it a lot for your honesty. She said, that being said, there is one last thing that we could try, because at this point I had done hormones, I have had surgeries, I have done as much research as possible, I've had all the tests done that you could possibly have to see if you're able to have a kid. And she said that there's this shot. It's not really common in the US because of like lack of need or lack of interest or something, but it's totally fine. What it does is it helps your endo. And I was like, okay. She said, let me be clear. Endometriosis doesn't make you miscarry. I'm like, okay, but that's my problem. But she's like, I know, but we could try it and see if it works. I'm like, all right, whatever. Because at this point, it's very overwhelming. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on with my body or anything, but if they say that there's something out there that could possibly help me, I'm gonna do it because I want to be a mom someday, and I want there to be a chance at that. What it is this shot called Luprin. I think that's what the name of it is. It puts you essentially into menopause, and the hope of it is to either prevent the endo from spreading and growing or shrink it. I'm something like that. I don't know. She explained it, and that's what the information that I gathered is for that. I had my first shot yesterday. What it does is it lasts a month, and then if you tolerate it for the month, then you get a 3-month dosage, and then 3 months after that you get another 3-month dosage. So I'll be in menopause for a total of about 7 months before getting off of it. I won't get another shot after that, and hopefully I'll be able to conceive and actually carry a kid after that. I don't know if it'll work. There's a chance that it will, and then there's also a chance that it won't. I'm honestly willing to try anything right now. So my plan is I am probably going to go to a sperm bank. I am single. I don't have a partner in my life, and the partners that I have had have proved to be unreliable. They just weren't there for me in their own ways. They had their own lives, and the second that it threatened to interfere with that, they backed out because they couldn't handle it. My then boyfriend, who I cared about a lot, the one that was my boyfriend when I went to Europe, and we dated after that too. I forgave him for that because I could understand that he was scared. And after losing the child, I just didn't want to be alone, so I stayed. And we got closer until Valentine's Day, when he told me that he slept with someone else when I was in Europe and she's pregnant. Yeah, so he conceived that child when I was pregnant and miscarrying our kid. So that was fun. Yeah, he has about a 3-month-old son now. Good for him. I hope he's happy. I hope that his kid is happy. I hope that he's a great dad. But he is partially one of the reasons that I realized that I will probably be the best parent that I could possibly be without a man in my life. If I happen to meet one who wants to be there for me, who wants to have a kid and raise it together, who wants to love me and be a husband and a father, that's great. But I'm not going to make the entire decision based on if I have a man in my life or not. I have considered adoption. I want to adopt. I definitely want to. I want to adopt through foster care. But I want to try to also have a kid like the natural way. So my ultimate plan is to have a kid naturally and then also adopt through foster care. So then I'll have 2 kids. And if there are siblings in foster care and that I click with, then I'll have 3 or 4, however many. But yeah, so for my menopause shot, they stuck me in my ass. I didn't really feel it. It felt like kind of like a scratch when they did it. Apparently the needle was like this big. Like for reference, that's like from here to here. It's a big needle. My sister came with me and she was like, I was like, what is it? She's like, did you see the needle? I was like, no, why? She's like, it's a big needle. I'm very thankful that my family supports me with my decision to look into my reproductive health a bit. They know that I want to be a mom. They know that I'm passionate about it. So I really hope that it works out, that I get to do that. I'm probably gonna make a few more of these videos just like talking about everything else. Like if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I hope you all have a lovely day. Thank you so much for watching if you made it to the end of this. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye.